Good evening, everyone. This is Windy City Radio, live from Chicago, Illinois, and broadcasting across the nation and around the world at twitch.tv/Windy City Radio. My name is Will, and joining us this evening, we have Alex.
Alex?
Howdy.
And Alex. All right. In a little bit, we're going to have a special guest on the show. We are having Orion from the Grillcast joining us. We're going to be talking about a few things with him. He is the host of the Grillcast, which is the first, if not only, podcast in the world devoted to radical centrism. We're going to be talking a little bit about that ideology as well as some of his takes on recent events just a little bit later. But to start off with, how have your guys' weeks been? Alex, how's your week been?
It's been all right. Just normal. I moved to another neighborhood in the city. So far, it's been nice. So pretty good. Can't complain. Nice apartment.
Fun stuff. Is it close to where you used to be, or a little bit further?
It's about where I was. So
nice.
Just like
yeah, like the part of town. Alex, how about you?
Oh, just another week. Just going to work. Yeah.
Okay. Alex?
And every day I wake up and I look at myself in the mirror and ask, who is this person? Then I answer, me. It is me. And then suddenly it's all good. So, yeah, I'm great.
Nice.
Drink to that.
To that. Anyway, so one thing I do want to talk about, or we should talk about, it's been very much in the news the last few days, is Ukraine. There's been a lot of active fighting. Alex is has this sort of his level of expertise, having been to Russia before and having sort of
I studied Russian when I was in college, and I follow Russian news. I mean, I've been following the conflict, I would say, medium amount, not super in depth. Like, I'm not like sitting there refreshing maps or anything, but I do definitely have a level of understanding.
Yeah. Just to start off with, our thoughts go out to everybody who is being affected by that, particularly the people who are being displaced because of the fighting. Some people I follow on Instagram who are from Ukraine have been basically fleeing to the western part of the country, and it's been a definite shock, especially because one of their fathers is in the army, so definitely been thinking of them. Also, on a personal note, I've mentioned on the show before that I am a teacher. I'm currently a substitute teacher in Chicago, and 5 years ago, I was a student teacher at a high school on the north side. And I had several students who were from Ukraine who were recent arrivals, and I've just been thinking about them a lot lately. My area is social studies, and I was really impressed with how interested they were in the subject, even to this day. And I've been in the field now for about 5 or 6 years, and I've just been thinking about them. And as a matter of fact, I actually saw one of their sisters at a different school the other day, and we were talking about like how I was at her sister's old school, and it's just I've really been kind of having a difficult time processing this myself because when I began teaching, I kind of wanted this. I kind of was looking forward to sharing my passion for history with the students, and the kids from Ukraine especially were very passionate about history, about learning, because several of them were taking classes were learning English as a second language, and it really gave me an insight into what the immigrant experience is like for so many teenagers, and I've just been thinking about that a lot lately, and so I've kind of had a difficult time processing this, because I just think about what they're going through right now, and how their families are being affected, especially because I think some of them do have extended families still living in Ukraine, and I'm just really worried about them. And
yeah, for sure. I have done some volunteering before, tutoring English to maybe some older teenagers, but mostly adults. And yeah, a lot of the people I worked with were Ukrainian, so obviously, heart goes out to all them and their families in Ukraine. So
yeah, I used to work at an international school which had a large ESL program and had sponsored a lot of F1 student visas, which was kind of the business model of the school. But there were a lot of people from various parts of Eastern Europe there, both on staff and in the student body. So I got to know a lot of people from that area, including Ukraine.
Yeah.
Last and least, I have one Ukrainian friend, and he seems to be having a difficult time, but also like he is in the States. So, I mean, that's literally it for me.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty lucky, you know, to be sitting here and not worried about, you know, like our airports getting blown up and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, unless there's a Ted Kaczynski follower somewhere.
Yeah, maybe
Right, yeah.
maybe we should be worried about.
Who knows? Who knows?
Could happen
It does. It could happen
at any point.
Yeah.
Never feel too secure.
Yeah, there's a lot of Eastern European students in the Chicago school system that I've mentioned, particularly some of the schools I sub at. There's a lot of kids from the Balkans. Less so one of the other schools more recently, but yeah, I knew a lot of kids who were Serbs, a lot of Bosniaks, which kind of like, I was kind of curious for a while, like why a lot of students had Arabic first names and Eastern European surnames until I realized that they were Bosnian Muslims, most likely. So that's,
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was growing up, you know, I knew a lot of people who were refugees from the wars that were going on in the 90s, you know. It's like, yeah. It was an interesting thing that I had no idea about when I was a kid, but when I got a little older, I realized, oh, that's why all those guys with really long, difficult to pronounce last names were in my class.
Yeah,
Sure.
makes sense.
Right.
But so yeah, to bring things back to Ukraine, I mean, like, and personally, like, I will say, I'm gonna be honest, like, 2 weeks ago, I would not have expected like a full scale invasion on the level of like what we're seeing right now. But I mean, yeah, unfortunately, you know, unfortunately, I've been proven wrong, and I mean, like, Russia's they're attacking from like basically all sides, like. You know, they obviously stationed like troops in like Belarus, Crimea, you know, like Southeast Russia and everything like that, and they're just like going in like full force, like sending a bunch of tanks. There's been like, I don't know, yeah, like firefights and stuff like that. It's just it's kind of like unbelievable to me. Like. Yeah, I mean, if you would have, like, you know, asked me, like, is something like this going to happen, like, even a couple months ago, I would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? But
Yeah, there's a recent article, I think, yesterday. An article came out written by the Slovenian philosopher Slavoj Žižek, talking about this, and he used the metaphor. It was kind of an obscene metaphor, honestly.
he's an obscene guy.
He is an obscene guy. He used the metaphor of sexual assault to describe what was going on between Russia and Ukraine.
I mean, yeah, it's brutal, but I mean, I don't think he's too far off. Like, I mean, like, as in a metaphorical.
But he was saying that the United States was before it happened, saying, you know, it's not going to happen, and if it happens, we'll protect them. And then Ukraine is saying it's very well could happen. We're really worried about this, and Russia's saying it'll never happen, and if it does happen, you deserve it.
I mean, it's just like from what I'm seeing, it just seems like the typical like right out of the Soviet like gaslighting playbook, like the way that they, you know, the way that they were like downplaying everything, and you know, I heard some, you know, opinions from like very like, let's say like militaristic kind of like Botnik Russian saying like, oh no, what are you NATO guys worried about? Like, it's just normal military exercises. Yeah, sure, normal fucking military exercises. Give me a break, man. But yeah.
Yeah, I think you know, I think that there's I don't want to play, you know, any kind of devil's advocate on such a serious subject, but you know, I think that a lot of people before it happened were saying, well, Russia does have some reason to be worried about NATO expansion into the former Soviet states that's been going on for decades now. And so, like, you know, military exercises are par for the course. You know, the U.S. does them in states that are very close to the Russian border all the time, and they have for a long time.
I would not even call that like playing devil's advocate. Like, that's like for sure just a fact.
Yeah,
But-
which is why I agree with the Chinese diplomatic position on this subject, which is, you know, they understand that Russia has legitimate worries about NATO expansion and imperialism, but they also respect and understand the Ukrainian right to self-determination and understand why they're unhappy with how things are playing out.
Yeah, I've heard China, maybe I'm guessing like the sanctions they're doing. I work in a field that's like related to sanctions. But I've heard like some of the sanctions that they're doing are kind of like economic related.
Yeah,
like,
it's mostly economic.
Yeah, I mean they're for sure like milder than like anything that like the West is like slapping on Russia right now, but like they're for sure like putting on some. So.
Yeah,
China seems to be pretty like anti-imposing sanctions first. In general, they're I don't know.
Right. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about necessarily.
Right. I mean, like they got into a whole like tariff war with the U.S. Right, but that's like pretty different.
I mean, most of that was kind of just like the fault of like I hate to.
Well, yeah. No, it's retaliatory, is what I'm saying, right? As opposed to like imposing sanctions as general diplomatic strategy.
First strike.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be first strike sanctions. Don't seem to be China's thing.
Yeah, I think the difference is that China. Is acting with the understanding that, I don't even think that's the difference anymore. But China understands, and I think the U.S. understands, but doesn't say it clearly, that sanctions are an act of violence. Right. When you're stopping people from getting the materials they need to live, that is.
I mean, I don't think sanctions are always an act of violence. I think in some cases it like can be, like for sure, like Iran gets really like screwed by sanctions a lot.
Yeah,
Iran.
I think if you talk about if you're sanctioning like individuals, like in the case of certain Russian oligarchs, like freezing their bank accounts and like sanctioning them from doing economic activity, that's fairly different.
Which up until like even like literally a couple days ago was like more often than not like the case.
Yeah,
like, it was
like that. I wouldn't consider violence against the Russian people.
Right, sanction against an entire country.
Right.
Yeah. I think. Yeah.
Versus like specific like companies.
Right. The Geneva Convention has a rule against collective punishment, and yet sanctions against a country, which includes millions of people that have no part in the decisions made that are the reason for the sanctions, are still not only acceptable, but the norm in how global politics is conducted by the United States and NATO.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. And it's like, because like, and especially like in a country like Russia I'm not gonna get into China, we're not gonna talk about China quite as much, but like we're thinking like Russia, like the voice of the people, like in more like democratic countries, like if there's sanctions or something like that, like the government is more likely to face like actually like repercussions from people and like get voted out and stuff like that versus like in Russia, like not a chance in hell that's going to happen. Like
Iran is the same thing, right? There's not really a democratic process that will respond to sanctions by enacting regime change.
Exactly.
I do want to bring on our guest actually because we're about 15 minutes in. So
sure.
Anyway, so just to give him a quick introduction, he is the host of the Grillcast on YouTube, the only podcast in the world devoted to radical centrism. Those of you who are on Facebook may know him from the meme groups Extreme Centrist Memes for Hardline Moderates, as well as Semi-Automated Business Class Radical Centrism. So if you like to
I've heard of that latter one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I'm in it. I enjoy it.
It's a very good group. I enjoy it quite a lot. So if you'd like to unmute himself in the VC, he is welcome to come on. Orion, welcome to Windy City Radio.
Do you have a video or just
It's
audio?
just audio. All right, Orion, can you hear us? Because we can't hear you.
See his mic move on
Yeah, we don't see your mic move on it, Orion.
We did see him on mute though.
Yeah, we saw you on mute, but your mic isn't going.
Ba, 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 ba.
Careful, we don't want to get copyright striked.
Oh no, we don't. We really don't.
I don't think that was any specific song.
I don't think it was.
Probably was.
Just an intro tune.
Probably was.
Ba,
Yeah,
ba, ba,
He is the Doc Severinsen of WCR. oh, on. I saw some
Stump the
movement.
band.
I would suggest Orion putting on push to talk if you haven't, because we can't hear you. We don't see your mic. We don't see your.
Is it gonna come through the
thing going.
speakers?
Yeah.
It will. Yeah, it'll come through the
We're
speakers.
testing it through another, like an echo service.
Sure.
Right.
He's typing right
Yeah.
Ah,
Mic is laying up on your
Laying
side.
up on my
now.
side.
I'll
Interesting.
refresh it. Let's both refresh.
okay. We'll vamp for a minute.
Yeah, it probably. Yeah. Let me refresh also, or I can actually go in the chat as well if we
But you
need
don't
to.
see it working either, right?
No, I don't. Let me go.
This is the gripping stuff that people tune into
It's
Windy
crazy.
City
Oh,
Radio
yeah.
for.
On my account,
Content.
I'm gonna go into the voice chat, see if that makes a difference on here. Hold on.
People are looking for
That's me,
the
yeah.
tech fixes here. They're looking for the.
It's all a little bit.
They're looking for the what's it called?
IT.
Sure. Not what I was thinking of, but I'm not going to find the word I was
What,
thinking of.
what kind of word are you thinking of? How many letters is it?
It's something like problem solving. It's a diagnostic kind of thing.
Troubleshooting.
Troubleshooting. That's what.
Yeah.
They're looking for the
Hold on.
troubleshooting.
Wait,
That's
wait,
what people.
Orion. I just saw you light up for a sec. Try talking.
You try talking to see if it's.
Okay. Oh wait, hold on. Let me try that. I have to. Yeah, I have to put on mic access. All right. Can you hear me in the chat, Orion?
Troubleshooting.
Troubleshooting. Trouble.
Okay, Orion can hear me. Okay.
Oh, wait, were we not in the
We
chat?
were.
Yeah, we were.
Okay.
Okay, I see your name flick. I see you like flickering in the chat. Do you have push to talk on, or do you have voice activity? Because you might want to put on push to talk if that's the case. You might want to switch to.
Trouble.
Oh, voice activity. Okay.
Shooting.
Yeah, try push to talk because that might work. Because like your volume might be too low for voice activity.
I don't
to
think
work.
we're allowed to say troubleshooting anymore. We have to say like trouble activity.
Trouble
Or
activity.
Right.
working through the trouble.
Working through. The
We got trouble right here in troubleshooting.
Yes,
Cancel culture's kind of insane these days.
it really is.
Troubleshooting.
Shooting up the trouble. Well, maybe not shooting up. That's probably not. It's a very.
You can't say the SHOO
That's right. That's
word.
not very
Yeah.
popular. It
Trouble
really
with shooting these days is, these kids aren't trained on the guns.
That's what I'm saying.
They gotta go hit some cans in the backyard. You know what I'm saying?
The first rule of gun safety is to have fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now you wanna get the cans either in the backyard or ideally in the sand pit that's down the street from your house, where y'all shoot guns and then shoot fireworks that are not
Oh,
legal in your county.
I have an idea, Jamie. Are you sure that the speakers are set up to the right ones on your end? Okay. Yeah, if you want to double check.
We hear the Discord noises.
We do hear the Discord noises.
So like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a problem
the
on
output
your
device is
end,
set
I
to
think.
speakers.
Okay.
The input device is set to.
To this. Yeah.
When I think about the sand pit near where I grew up, I think about loud noises, loud bangs from guns, from fireworks, from just people saying the word bang. I think about a lot of things when I think about the sand pit near me.
You drinking
Orion-
bangs?
Orion, are you sure you have the right microphone selected? Because it might be causing an issue. You turned up your mic too, and you have the right one selected in the input. Okay.
Is
Yeah,
there
not enough-
any other way we could like get?
You know what? I
Yeah,
have
can
an
we
idea.
can we do like a
have-
call in some other service
I have an
maybe?
idea. Hold on. Let me set this up really quick. Okay. I am going to go on Google Voice really quick because I have a number on here.
Not enough people.
Oh,
have
good
said
call,
that.
good call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, anyone listening, sorry about the delay. We're just trying to finish.
I'm not sorry about it.
Why
Yeah, I don't want to play devil's advocate, but I'm not sorry.
I'm doing my best to vamp here,
All right,
but
Apples in the chat. So we'll get
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let me All right, let me quickly. Okay, Ryan, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to. Do you have Google Voice or some other, or like a phone handy or something? Because I have a number that I can send you a DM with, and you can dial in with that. Let's see.
this is targeted content.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that it's.
You have a phone, okay. If you can, all right. Let me DM you with the emergency studio line really quick. You can just call into that, and I'll see if I can. Oh, what? Hold on a second. Why is Ghost? Did I not click off Ghost? He's fucking in the other tab. Good lord. Okay.
Did that say Trump is doing this on purpose?
I think it said something about Trump doing something.
Something. Yeah, hold on. Let me.
You guys get your Truth Social accounts?
I've not gotten my Truth Social account yet.
Yeah, of course.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah,
Hit me on Truth Social.
Plug your Truth Social at the end. Make sure everyone has your Truth
I
Social.
will. It's the same as my Twitch handle.
Alex.
JNooms96.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I feel like, if more people had abandoned quarries near their house that were now sand pits that were underutilized, I think we'd have a more accurate shooting in this country.
I think that if those quarries were never abandoned in the first place, I think that's the real issue.
If more people
a lot about society.
had waterfalls down the street from their house that used to be like mills back in the day, like sawmills, but then they took down the mill, and now it's just a waterfall that's got some artificial height to it because it used to be a mill.
And then those kids will be chasing that waterfall their whole lives.
Yeah.
I'm saying? Don't do that.
If I have anything
Don't
to
go.
say,
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Go chasing waterfalls. Absolutely.
Oh man, I can't agree with that. I
hold
really
up, hold
can't.
up. Yo, Ryan, what's up? Okay, all right, Ryan, can you hear me? Hey, I think we got him.
We got him.
Hello?
Did we got him?
Yes, Orion,
Nice.
as I live and breathe. How are you doing, sir?
Hola, amigo.
Doing great. Are you guys an indie rock band? You guys look like you might be like an indie rock band sort of deal. That's kind of
Yeah, we actually we are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can
we
neither
actually
confirm nor
are.
deny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I can't really hear anyone too well over there, unfortunately. But yeah, I feel like Will would be on the drums, right?
I am a drummer. You are correct.
Yeah. See, I have that intuition. And then we got our homie in the stripes here. I'm sorry, I don't know the rest of your guys' names, so you're gonna have to work with me here. He'd be slapping the bass, and our boy in the checkered shirt there, he'd be on guitar. He'd be like acoustic guitar, though. I can tell he has like a real soulful vibe about him. And then we'd have our homie in the hoodie here. He'd be blasting that electric guitar, doing some blues riffs, maybe some lead vocals. It'd be a good time.
It really would. So, anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show. First of all, I'm glad that yeah.
Is he getting recorded?
You can hear me? You can hear me, okay, right?
I can hear you, yeah. I can't hear everyone else, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, it's a little muddy, but we'll get through this.
We will. Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I think because the microphone is going through this Chromebook right here, as opposed that's what I'm speaking to you through. So that's why I'm trying to project a little bit more. I can move this actually a little bit to see if that can help slightly. That might help a little bit, just so we can get everybody in.
Can you hear?
Yeah, y'all got a big ass setup right there. Lots of microphones, you got a guy doing the camera and everything.
Yeah,
You got yourself a Jamie looking up facts and everything.
we do indeed.
On my show, the Grillcast, I don't have friends in real life, so it's like a, just over the internet sort of deal.
Right, and I've done similar stuff.
Internet friends are real friends.
They are.
I disagree.
Yeah, we're all friends here. We're all friends here, Ryan. All right. So tell us a little bit about your show. Tell us about the philosophy of radical centrism and why you decided to start a podcast surrounding it.
Yeah, absolutely. Before that, I want to, weigh in a little bit on Ukraine. I was watching you guys talk about that. Such a devastating situation for everyone involved, but especially myself. I think I've been hit the hardest by anybody out of this whole thing. I try and go online and go in my shitposting groups or I'm trying to have a good time here, I'm getting off work, trying to have a good time, and everyone's just talking about this war and all this suppressing shit. It's like, God, man,
What's the
I just wanna,
centrist? What's
have
the
a good time.
what's the centrist stance on what's going on in Ukraine right now, if I can ask?
Well, I think the radically centrist take on it is that, watching everything that's going on, I'd rather be in Ukraine right now than read everybody's opinions online about Ukraine. I would take God, it's just been exhausting. Nobody's had a good take on it. Except for you guys. You guys are doing good because we're broadcasters. We're professionals. You know, we're not like the unsullied filth that inhabit the internet. You know.
Yeah, we're basically blue checks is what it comes down to. Like our opinions are verified because we're broadcasters.
We have a blue check mark on our opinions because we, you know, we're a little bit on a higher plane of existence than the average person, being professional broadcasters. But yeah, Ukraine, horrible situation. You know, I hope they can hug it out. You know, throw some meat on the grill, throw some fucking shish kebabs or whatever they have in
Some
Ukraine on the
shashlik,
grill.
some shashlik on the barbecue with their dachas.
Just send a Kardashian with a can of Pepsi. That's what I'm saying.
So, to talk a little bit about radical centrism, like you were asking me, radical centrism is an ideology that basically ascends every other ideology. A lot of people confuse it with centrism, which is it's inherently a fence-sitting ideology wherein you don't really have firm opinions, or if you do, I'll put it forward an example, right? So, a centrist would be like looking at January 6th or the BLM riots and say, this is horrible and we need civility. Whereas a radical centrist would look at those and be like, fuck yeah, buddy, keep going. You know, regardless of ideology, let's just see what happens because it's good content. It's fun to watch, right?
Anything
Absolutely.
is content. Anything is content.
I just hope both sides have fun.
Yeah, exactly. As long as everyone's having a good time, vibing out, that's all that really matters. And, you know, a lot of people get upset when these things go down, but you just gotta look past it and realize, like, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. It's kind of just a show. That's what the American experience is commodifying, you know, people's lived experiences. So why not do it in the realm of politics as well?
Yeah, they're living their
Well
truth.
said.
They're living their truth.
We have a question from Twitch chat from Mr. Luring TJ Hooker. Radical centrist take on World War II. A little genocide is okay as long as you don't go overboard?
All right, radical centrist take on World War II. Look,
It's a good
I
question.
think we can all agree that, you know, all the sides in World War II, they were doing a lot of stuff. They were all really cool. It's hard for me to choose who I like the best in World War II because, you know, a lot of people were doing some really innovative things. You know, like, you know, for example, like the Nazis, they were innovating and pushing forward scientific discovery. Radical centrists love science. Now, you know, the morality of how they did it and all that gets a little murky. I don't like to think about that, so I kind of just push it to the side, try not to think about it. The U.S., you know, they bombed, they nuked Japan, right? And that might
Yep.
seem barbaric, but without that, will we have Elden Ring today? Bro, I've been playing Elden Ring for like 10 hours. That shit is tight. So if we hadn't nuked them, who knows if we would have ever gotten that.
That reminds me of what a Democratic state senator, I believe from New Hampshire, said in 2010. He famously was caught, I believe it was on it was either on a hot mic or on a blog that he had, in which he asserted that anime was a prime example of why 2 nukes wasn't enough. Your thoughts on that?
I think he's right.
Okay, so he said that we didn't go far enough because anime exists now?
That's essentially yes, and I've also
We
heard.
should have nuked
I mean,
out of existence.
I think the alternative position there would be that the nukes caused anime, and that itself is an argument against nuclear proliferation. That
That's
nuclear
a fair point.
proliferation causes anime.
I definitely agree with that. Anime is pretty cringe, and you know, the thing is, if you go online and you talk to people, the people with the worst takes are always the ones with the anime profile pictures, right?
It's true.
It's absolutely true.
Absolutely. And like if it's that old meme that if you have an anime profile picture, your opinion doesn't really matter that much in the long run.
It's less than dirt, but you know, anyone talking online, no one's opinion matters, and that's another take on radical centrism is that a lot of people put their opinions out there, and talk a lot of shit, and they try. I don't know. I think that they take themselves a lot more seriously than they should, and think that their ideas have a lot more of an effect than they do, because the technological age that we've found ourselves in has rendered us rather impotent in our day-to-day lives, especially as far as our opinions go. Like, oh, I'm gonna go vote about it. You're not gonna change anything. But a lot of people are very confused about really where they stand and what they can change with their ideas. But I would say radical centrism really is a mix of absurdism, maybe accelerationism, and it might sound nihilistic at times, but nihilism's kind of gay, so it's definitely not nihilism.
One thing I do want to mention, because you did mention the effect of technology regarding people's day-to-day lives.
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences.
Yes.
Are we getting Ted pilled in here?
I think we are getting Ted pilled. Yes. Speaking of that, speaking of Ted, do you see him as more of a centrist or more of a wing cuck?
Oh, definitely not a wing cuck. I see him as a radical centrist in some ways. Obviously, I'm going to go on the record here and say that I do not support actual real-life violence in any form.
Well, of course, neither do we.
Yeah, we're contractually obliged to say it.
Ted Kaczynski is an extremely principled man, and he lived the life that he wanted to live. I think where wing cucks really go wrong, where you become a wing cuck rather than an ideologue or whatever, is, you go online and you post about, oh, Ted Kaczynski's so based, dude, he's so based. But you don't move out to the fucking shack in the middle of the woods. You don't get off the fucking internet. You don't go and send fucking bombs in the mail. What you do is you just sit there and you type and you type and you type and you fucking jerk yourself off over your own opinions. Ted Kaczynski
Bunch of posers, really.
and did the actual thing. And, I actually saw a letter that someone wrote him. Recently it came out that he had cancer.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
It's
Yeah.
very sad. It's very sad.
And, they wrote him asking him some questions, and his response was basically like, well, did you read my thing? Are you doing what I told you to do? He's very pragmatic. He's a no BS kind of guy. And wing cucks are a full BS kind of guy. So I think I would rate Ted Kaczynski as a radical centrist.
Yeah, I think that he was a professor of mathematics. He was a genius. He was a very smart guy, and he just tried to think of ways of what he could do in the world. And we might not agree with everything that all the determinations that he made in terms of how he could make a change, but he was pretty successful in getting a message out there. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, you really can't. Otherwise, it just would have, it would have stayed in his head. Maybe he could have, printed it out and put it in his local library, and they would have thrown it away when they found it. But, it's, I don't advocate for that sort of thing, but he did what he thought he had to do to get his message out there, and I'd say it worked.
Incidentally, we have another question from TJ Hooker in the Twitch chat. If voting doesn't achieve your goals and violent revolution doesn't promote positive vibes, what are we supposed to do?
Okay, so that's a great question. TJ Hooker, I want to thank you very much for asking that. You're a good guy. You should totally go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/the Grillcast, and subscribe to, hear more of my base takes. But
We can for sure plug you in the Twitch. We can for sure plug you in the Twitch.
What is it again?
Yeah, the Shillcast. That's a secondary name for my podcast, the Shillcast. But I would say that, so voting doesn't achieve your goals. Violent revolution doesn't achieve your goals. So what do? Well, you just laugh at shit, man. You just look at what's going on and you just have a good time with it, because you're not gonna fucking do anything about it. Like, what? Oh, I'm gonna try and organize. Okay, you're gonna get infiltrated by feds, by some fucking glow-in-the-dark dudes that are gonna destroy you and take you down, and they're gonna destroy your life.
And you just gotta run them down with your car, like our Lord and Savior Terry Davis said.
It's a clown world.
Repeat that, my friend?
Okay, I just said you're talking about glow-in-the-dark individuals, and as our Lord and Savior Terry Davis said, all you have to do is run them down with your car.
I wish it was that easy. But you know, it's like cutting the head off a hydra. You run over one glow-in-the-dark individual with your car, and two more sprout up out of his place, ready to infiltrate your community. And you know, so basically, I would say that the solution is to just. It sounds like giving up, but it's not really giving up because it's trying to achieve a goal that was impossible to achieve in the first place. The ability to organize and, you know, have an actual counterculture movement, it's going to be either infiltrated and dissolved, or it's going to be co-opted and turned into something bastardized and used to, you know, push the leading narrative in a sinister way. So, not really a lot you can do, pal. You're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there, and I think this kind of goes back to the yeah.
I think that.
Sorry, I wanted to cut in here before we make any real points, just to mention that I did have a match on a dating app once who called me a fucking glower because she thought that I was her ex imitating someone on the dating app, and
That's not really like glowing behavior.
no,
Unless her ex is a federal agent.
right, exactly.
Does her ex work for the CIA?
I mean, I'm guessing, maybe, I don't know, but
You'll
like,
have to ask her.
yeah, that was the reference.
Sorry, what was that?
Did you meet up with her?
No,
Pussy, it's different, bro.
she thought I was fake.
You never tried it. You should have done it, bro. If she's thinking that you're like some glow in the dark, like she's some schizophrenic, like, you know, that's a green light for a smash and dash, in my opinion.
Big green flag.
Well, that was why
Gaddafi
we
style.
didn't meet is because of that. But yeah, I understand the impulse, but there was the meet was canceled because of the hesitations around myself being a potential federal agent or an ex-boyfriend.
That's
So
interesting. I've never had that experience on a dating app before.
yeah.
Haunt you the most, am I right?
I'm sorry. What now?
The ones that get away haunt you the
Yep.
most.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, but I think what we're getting at here is the idea that, you know, just because a cause is lost, that there's no chance it'll succeed, doesn't make it any the less worthy of a cause to fight for. You know, I think of great heroes of mine like Socrates and Seneca and people that looked the ruling powers that they had no recourse against in the face and said, well, honk honk, you know, like it's all a joke.
And I
died for that.
I used to think that life was a tragedy, but now I realize it's a comedy.
Because you write sins, not tragedies.
Yeah. You know, I have a condition, by the way.
And the only prescription is more cowbell.
It just makes me laugh, you know.
And TJ Hooker incidentally says that he's getting Tim Pool vibes from who he calls the barbecue centrist. I assume that's you, Orion.
Oh, no Tim Pool vibes here. Look, Tim Pool...
Who's Tim Pool?
Tim Pool doesn't have his hair. Like, if you remove his beanie, that's like his power source, right?
You mind telling me who Tim Pool is?
Tries to rip it off his fucking head. He's like,
Okay. Yeah, Orion.
I think the Tim Pool is closed.
Alex was wondering, like, could you briefly? I know who you're referring to, but
Due to
could you briefly explain who Tim Pool is for the uninitiated?
oh, Tim Pool. Okay, so he's like a guy that goes online and is like, okay, so I used to be on the left. I used to be a Democrat, right? And now I just see how crazy they're going, man. And I should see what they're doing. And now I just don't know, man. I don't know. I'm still a liberal. I am a liberal, but somehow I'm shilling for all these right-wing causes, but I'm a liberal, right?
That's pretty cringe, bro.
Wow.
It's very cringe. As someone who's listened to him before,
So
on
he's-
Rogan, it's very cringe.
He's like the worst of both wing cucks, right?
Yeah.
He's like
Exactly what
he
he
takes the
is.
bad part of both.
And flies.
Yeah, he's not a radical centrist. He doesn't get the stamp of approval for my cause, and if I ever see him in real life, I'm gonna tear his beanie off.
Oh man, yeah.
How tall do you think this Tim Pool fella is?
Tim Pool, how tall do I think he is?
Yeah.
He kind of strikes me as like a 5'6" guy. Look, I'm 5'9", so like he needs to be like shorter than me. He's shorter than me. But yeah, I put him at like a 5'5", 5'6" sort of deal.
Yeah, I'm 5'9" myself, and I would say he seems to be
Hey,
about
me
like.
too.
Hey, I'd say like
You want to know something? 5'9" is the average height in America.
it's all.
That's a radical centrist.
It's also
You're 11.
it's also 69 inches.
Oh shit!
That's absolutely right. I remember.
Sup, Paul?
That is him. Holy shit!
Is that
Hold on,
a
Hold on, Jamie just pulled up a picture of Tim Pool with a shoe on his head.
is that a Rick Owens geobasket on his head?
Looks pretty dirty.
Yeah, it's like some. What is that? It's some kind of sneak. I don't know what kind of sneaker it is. Some kind of sneaker. Anyway,
Asics, I believe.
Probably a Sketcher. Yeah.
pretty sketchy if that's a sketcher.
No, I think it's a Rick Owens geobasket.
All right. Anyway, what's something else we're going to discuss on the show tonight?
Education.
There was-
I feel like we kind of. I feel like we kind of like hit Ukraine enough. At least for me.
Yeah, that's what Putin said.
What do you think of?
God.
Yeah, as a teacher, Tim, or I'm sorry, Tim, as a teacher, Orion, Tim Pool's on my brain now. I'm sorry, like he's on the head. Okay, what do you think of? Just as someone who works in public education, what do you think of the public school system as a force for promoting ideologies, and like what sort of power do you think it potentially has to educate children about the benefits as well as the costs of subscribing to a particular ideology? And do you in fact think that radical centrism is something that should be part of the curriculum of our public schools?
Right. So, look, one of the things that the schools teach nowadays that's the most offensive to my ideology is pacifism, right? So they teach like, you use your words, a golden rule, don't do unto others as you want like done to yourself. And if let's say two kids are, scrapping on the playground, beating each other up a little bit, they get separated, they get in trouble. And that's one of the biggest things that I think is wrong with our public school system today. Because look, I beat up lots of kids when I was a kid myself, and I think I really taught them a valuable lesson on how to stand up for themselves.
Oh, weird flex, but okay.
Bullying initiative, cringe, very cringe.
Yeah, no, I agree because I think if you do follow the golden rule, as a kid, sometimes I wanted to fight, So fighting was treating other people how I wanted to be treated.
Yeah, you gotta let
In
the
a way,
aggression
that's
out.
True, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important. Actually, I've talked about it with some people. I think like when we talk about how important play is, especially like I personally teach high school, but I think play is very important to the growth of children, and there have to be like safe places for aggression to be released as opposed to repressed. Now, for example, a lot of kids when they're young, but especially in the inner city, take boxing lessons, for example. Like there's a lot
Sports.
of sports,
outlet for
boxing
that.
clubs in particular.
Shakespeare
common.
plays
Shakespeare plays.
where they're playing.
Yeah, well,
And there's some combat involved in some
Yeah.
of those too.
There is
Some
combat in Shakespeare,
fencing.
yes. So,
Stage
like,
combat.
what do you think are some good activities, Orion, for young people to release that aggression in ways that don't necessarily harm themselves or anyone else to a great degree?
Well, look, when you're a little kid and you're beating up another kid, nothing really bad is going to happen, right? Like, maybe you get a little black eye or a little split lip or nothing, but you're not going to get, like, fucking concussion or brain damage or anything like that. I think that those sports are generally helpful for learning team-building exercises, but what they're not somebody
true.
steps up to the plate, they want some of this. Like, do you know how many people I know in my age group that, like, somebody mocks them at the bar and, like, slaps their girl's ass? What are you gonna do? And they don't do anything because they didn't.
Yeah, it happens all the time to me.
Now that's a weird flex.
Oh no! Oh my god. Anyway, that's conflict resolution is really important. And although I was bullied when I was particularly in middle school, although I never got in any physical fights.
Middle school sucks.
It does suck. I mean, I was bullied basically
Nobody
because,
likes middle school.
I had a
Yeah.
good time.
yeah, for the most part, like I generally look back on middle
Nobody
school
in the
with,
city.
with some level of fondness. Although, I mean, most of the bullying was because of my weight. Because, like, I mean, I'm fat now, and I was fat back then too. But
People bullied me because I was a ginger, so
oh man,
drink to that.
South Park.
Shout out to Copper Cab.
Too handsome.
too handsome.
Damn, you're stealing all my bitches, bro. Like, what? You'll leave some for me. They'd get really mad about it. It's like, I guess, like.
Yeah, I feel that. I was bullied because I'm a Sigma male mostly, but
on that grind set, no one understands.
Oh, yeah.
When you're on that Sigma male grind set, I know what you're talking about, brother.
yeah, I was up there in 2008 saying we're in 8th grade, invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I got around it by only being friends with older kids.
That helps. That
So
does help.
that's a little message out there for all our middle school listeners.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I was when I was particularly a junior in high school, I had made friends by that point with a lot of sophomores, and I think that it helps because you're able to sort of like practice being a mentor to younger grades, which I think can help them adjust to rising up and becoming they're already adolescents, but as they're on the cusp of adulthood, making friends
Right.
with like kids who are like a year or two older than you, that can help you adjust to high school, can help you adjust to finding relationships, and can definitely just be a good experience. So I definitely suggest that, like, I really fucking
Yeah.
hope there aren't any teenagers listening to this.
I'd
especially-
say hang out with the older kids. If they offer you something, maybe go along with it, see where it goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always do that.
always.
Always do what the older kids are offering you.
It's cool. They're cool.
Look, if there are any teenagers listening right now, head over to youtube.com/the Grillcast, and I will mentor you. I will teach you how to be a based radical centrist.
Oh, speak.
Friends will be impressed. Women will be all over you. Your parents won't be disappointed in you anymore. There's so many benefits to doing it.
Yes, and just in conclude, we can stay on for a little bit. Feel free to stay on for longer. But I was listening to your most recent episode of the Grillcast, and you mentioned a certain. I'll just mention who you were talking about. You were mentioning that the infamous Kyle Rittenhouse is now a map. Could you explain a little bit what you were referring to by that?
Oh, right. So, I don't do a lot of research for my shows. I think that research is kind of cringe. Like, I just kind of like to wing it, ironically enough. And, I just heard that he found an organization called the MAP Organization.
Oh, and incidentally, let me interrupt you really quickly, Ryan. Let me interrupt you really quickly. So, MAP in the context of this is a very controversial, what has been pushed as a not necessarily pushed, but has been interpreted by some people, mostly people that nobody wants to associate with, as a sexual orientation, and it is an acronym that stands for Minor Attracted Person.
Or libertarian. That's the short form for it.
Okay, yeah, let's not talk about
Yeah, I don't want to
this.
really discuss that specifically, but apparently MAP stands for, in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse, the Media Awareness Program, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I found
That's
out
unfortunate.
when I watched the video for the first time
Media
doing this
awareness
episode
program.
that the MAP project was actually a media awareness project, right? Wild stuff. I was surprised, but yeah, he wants to sue a bunch of people for slandering him and saying things like, maybe you shouldn't have gone and shot all those people. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. Just horrible slander and libel like that. And so he's getting lawyered up. He's taking on such names as Whoopi Goldberg, Cenk Uyghur of the Young Turks,
The deep state.
etc. He's taking on etc.
LeBron James. He is suing LeBron James.
Really?
Yeah, I've
Yes,
heard
he
that
is.
he was
What
suing
the
LeBron
fuck?
James.
Really?
Yes, for real.
For
For defamation.
LeBron roasting him?
LeBron had tweeted some things about him. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, he's taking on LeBron too. He's scattershotting it, right? Like a Halo 3 shotgun, like 5 feet away, hits everyone in the fucking room. But about Kyle Rittenhouse though, like, don't you think he's just such a cute little kid? Like, I want to put a little like beanie propeller hat on him and give him like a giant oversized lollipop.
He has the chubbiest of chubby cheeks. It's remarkable.
He does have a baby face.
I did see some analyses online that are understanding his facial structure and seeing biologically is he actually a man? It's like there's some questions going on.
Were you reading like phrenology blogs?
I'm just saying
Look like a lesbian.
there are a lot of people saying it. I'm not the one saying it. I'm just asking a question.
It's being discussed.
Top people are saying, yep.
Top people are saying, not specific. Yeah, top people. Yeah, top people as opposed to bottom people are saying.
Yeah, the ones who are interested in him are the top people.
But from the radical centrist perspective, what are the switches saying?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, like if someone is neither top nor bottom, if they're a switch, what would they be saying?
Yeah, he kind of does look like our beloved mayor here in Chicago in that picture.
A little bit, yeah.
In the face.
Got the police uniform.
Yeah, we're looking at a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse in a police uniform, and he has a similar expression to that Lori Lightfoot occasionally will make in press conferences. One of her more neutral faces.
Similar outfit as well.
Well, it doesn't fit quite.
You guys are in Chicago, huh? You got
Windy City Radio.
When you say radio.
Okay, for sure you got Lori Lightfoot. I feel like you could like throw her into the ocean and she has like gills and could breathe in the water.
The Lake Michigan.
See the problem is we don't have an ocean to throw her in.
We just have Lake Michigan.
We have several lagoons in the city, like some of the larger city parks.
We got the
like,
river.
Yeah, Marquette Park, for example, on the south side has a little lagoon where you can go fishing. It's like there are places where there are fish.
Humboldt Park.
Humboldt Park has a lagoon as well. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where they found the
People
alligator.
have boats out there. Yeah.
Wait, what the fuck? In Humboldt?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I did
I
not
mean,
know
if
this.
you remember Chance the Snapper, that alligator they found, that was in Humboldt Park.
Yeah, I just want to address TJ Hooker or luring TJ Hooker's assessment here. If they're not a top or a bottom, the correct term is verse or versatile. Verse or switch are equally interchangeable.
Oh,
Both are valid.
Is that
music you
true?
can use
I thought
right
they
there.
were for different things.
What do you mean?
I thought that now. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because this is not my area of expertise.
Sure.
But I thought that verse was in between top and bottom, and switch was in between dom and sub.
Ah, interesting.
Where does power bottom fit into this equation here?
Power bottom is a variety of bottom, but yeah. So I mean, I guess sure you could say verse is the correct term, but these days I feel like okay. So from my experience, mostly people use verse and switch interchangeably, but if you are working within the dom sub dynamic, that could make sense differently. But top bottom dom sub, there's some gray area there. I don't know. I feel like switch is also fine.
But that's what you grab to whip someone with is a switch. You don't go and grab a verse when your kid's misbehaving. It's like all I'm saying.
Yeah, but if it's a very persuasive verse, written by the bard or something.
Yeah, I don't know. That may qualify as torture under the Geneva Convention to some children, but I don't think it would inflict pain the same way as switch would.
All right, we're off topic, but I think
We're a
the
bit off
language
topic,
changes
yeah, that
over time.
happens.
But I think switch and verse in modern parlance amongst many members of whatever community is pretty interchangeable. Only from my experience. Obviously, everyone else has a different experience.
Drink to that. Cheers.
Cheers to that.
I'm a switch, is what I'm saying.
Very well.
A Nintendo Switch?
Schools for a second. I think maybe we should introduce a class that goes over all the new LGBT terms, like terminology, because look at us here. We can't figure this out.
Actually, I should.
So many different things.
Yeah.
And we're killing our kids right now.
Yeah, I should mention that I remember being in health class in high school. This would have been about 2009, and even like back then, we think of this as a more recent development, but they were discussing the difference between sex and gender and how it's not often a binary even back then. So, I mean, I think like you could do that pretty easily in a health class, or
We like for sure have a
Not in
different
Texas.
we like for sure have a different understanding about that than we did like 10, 15 years ago.
oh, definitely, it's much more
By
expanded.
we, do you mean like us here, or do you mean
No,
the?
no, I mean,
Yeah,
like-
okay.
like society
because I have the
as
same
well.
understanding as I
Yeah.
did 10 years ago.
Yeah, let's say me too.
Which is basically like not the one that people like now.
Science has evolved.
Yeah, and trust and we trust the science and all that. And also, there's
Yeah.
some high schools that have offer classes for usually seniors as an elective sociology. And I think that's another good way to. That's another good class where that sort of thing can be discussed as well, because it's generally discussed in the context of race, class, and gender. And I think if we were talking about gender, we can talk about how different gender identities and sexual orientations can not only exist but be interpreted in different ways by different people.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I saw at my work was there was a mass email that went out to everyone who works at the company that had like a bunch of information about various identities and things, and said that we have to respect these. So basically, if you don't agree that asexuals are oppressed by society, you get fired. And I just think that's a little odd, It's like if you don't agree that this one group, that may not even exist according to a lot of scientists is oppressed by society, then you get fired. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the whole, like, asexuals are somehow oppressed sort of deal. Like, if I didn't need to get my dick wet, my life would be so much easier. Those people don't know how fucking good they have it.
Yeah, I think they run society. I think if anything, they are in control of society.
It's a huge advantage.
It'll move you forward in your career for sure.
I think so. Yeah.
Girlfriend's looking at me very angrily right now.
Oh, is she asexual?
I'll drink to that.
Hey, cheers. I'll take a drink myself, boys.
Excellent. What you drinking?
I got some, what the fuck country is it? It's one of those Eastern European country vodkas.
Ukraine?
No, not Ukraine. I wish, in solidarity, I will drink their vodka. Latvia. It's Latvian vodka.
Latvia.
Very nice.
The more miserable Eastern European country is, the better their vodka is. Like, they put all that pain into their art,
I was thinking of getting a bottle of Stoli from Jewel like in the next day or two in case like.
Oh, Stoli's nasty.
I know it's not, I'm not a big fan of Stoli, but I'm thinking like if you if there are going to be additional sanctions, it might be more difficult to get Russian vodka in the U.S. So that might be a good investment to get a bottle of it.
Although the thing about that is like I'm not like for sure that like it's distributed like straight out of Russia. Like it might have like be owned by. I mean, I don't know, but
Everyone stock up on Russian vodka.
Yeah. There's gonna be a run. There's gonna be a run on the liquor stores.
get your Ruski standard. Сразу же.
Some right now.
Nostradoya.
Very nice. Just enjoying our beverages like good. You're enjoying your beverage just like a good radical centrist would. Just kicking back, cracking open a cold one, and letting everything blow over.
Exactly. What else can I do other than feed my crippling addiction, right?
Yeah,
I'll drink to that.
I will drink several times. I will chug the rest of this beer to that. As a matter of
All right.
fact.
Speaking of chugging beers, do we have another topic?
Well, I'll tell you what, fellas. I think I'm gonna skirt out of here. I got some Elden Ring to play. I'm addicted to this game. I'm not a gamer, but like, holy shit. It's like when I was 14 again. This like 10-hour gaming session. I feel like a degenerate right now. You guys got any more questions for me? Or?
No. Cheers. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming on.
cheers.
It was great having you on with us.
Yeah,
And
you're
and hope that you soon get over your crippling addiction to video games.
There we go.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Feel free to plug the show again if you'd like.
I'm sorry, what?
I said feel free to plug the show again if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to figure out the audio because I can't hear you guys super well all the time. But yeah, I'll do that sometime and I'll shout you out on my next show. You guys have a good show and everything. Peace out.
All right. Have a good one, Orion.
Okay,
Thank you again
thank
for
you.
being with us.
Bye now.
Grillcast. Let's fucking go, baby.
Let's go. All right. Thank you, man. Thank you very much for coming on. All
Yeah.
right. That was Orion from the Grillcast. You can find that on YouTube. Good show, and yeah, it's a fun. It's a fun listen. I was listening to it earlier today, and really good stuff. It's if you like this show, it's very similar in concept to that. So they're just chatting about news with some friends, making a few comments about it, and just trying to figure out the world just like everybody else is.
Yeah, I at risk of revealing too much about my own personal life here, I was a little fucking freaked out by this whole thing because I recently wrote a play called Cycles of Radical Centrism, and I have another play that has a character named Orion. Too many coincidences.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's that meme.
Have you ever seen the movie Stranger Than Fiction?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's about you right now.
Yeah, I do often
Yeah.
hear a narrator in my own head.
Yeah, interesting.
Anyway, continue. That was all I had to say. I just wanted to get that out there because I was fucking weird about it, but in my own brain. Anyway.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, it's
Very interesting.
those kind of serendipitous things happen once in a while. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to discuss regarding education. Let me pull this up really quick. There recently, I believe this past week, there's an organization called, I believe it's called the Hope Project. Yeah. So the Hope Project is an organization that was, I don't remember if it was founded by or if it is, yeah, it's called Hope Chicago. That's right. The former superintendent of Chicago Public Schools, Janice Jackson, works for it. And they have a program in which they are choosing several high schools on the south and west side, and they are awarding all students in the school a full ride to college.
I heard about that actually.
Yeah.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah, I'm just going to read this. This is from WBEZ, and WBEZ, incidentally. I'm just going to read this really quick.
Maybe just give it a quick synopsis.
Yeah. So basically on Tuesday, this organization went to Juarez Community Academy, which is a high school down in Pilsen, and they basically made an announcement. They had an assembly for it was basically going to be an assembly regarding like senior activities. But then they basically surprised everyone in the audience by saying not only are the seniors going to get scholarships, but all of the students in the school will be getting a not only full ride to college, but also some of their parents will be eligible as well. So I was really glad to hear that. And they're doing it at a couple other high schools, Al Raby, which is in Garfield Park. It's across the street from the conservatory, and Morgan Park High School as well, from what I understand, is going to be a part of this. I think it may be one or two other schools that they plan to do this program at. And I was talking with some other teachers that they at one hand they're very happy for the students, as we all should be, but we also, it kind of occurred to us that this is going to cause kind of a rift with regards to future classes at the school. Like, can you imagine, for example, if you're an 8th grader who's next year will be attending one of these schools, then like everyone except your grade is going to know that they have a paid ride to college, and that's not necessarily going to be the case for you as well. But at the same time, I'm hopeful that this is going to create a college-going culture. And incidentally, this scholarship can be used for a college or a trade school as well. So even if a student doesn't want to go to college, they can still learn a trade and have their education paid for as well. And some of their, as I said, some of their parents will be eligible to receive full-ride scholarships also. So I was glad to hear that, and I think it's a good idea to push the narrative that you can go to college and you can do this regardless of what your socioeconomic status is.
Yeah,
Go for it.
So I just wanted to say, I think this is like, great for those particular students. I don't know so much about the narrative thing. I think for those particular students, if they may not have wanted to go to college and they suddenly can, that's a good thing. I don't think it has really a ripple effect beyond those people, like maybe next generation, obviously generational wealth, like that has an effect. But I think this really points to the problem of trying to solve our social issues through philanthropy always has limited results.
Yeah,
that's what my question was going to be. Where is this money coming from?
That is a good question. Let me take a look really quickly. I want to see if this
because it's inherently arbitrary, right? Like there's plenty of students in other like in low income schools that are like not going to get this opportunity.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
So it's going to be unfair, just like much of philanthropy distributes money fairly unfairly.
Yeah.
You know?
But you want it to be merit based?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm personally pro having expanded public education. So it's like, you can just go to college. But
I mean, but if it's not merit-based, it's arbitrary.
I will say this though, going back to philanthropy,
Unless you want to give it to everyone, but there's not enough money for that.
going back to philanthropy, there's a saying that I heard recently. Philanthropy ensures that you only have to give money to some people instead of all people. I think that's kind of relevant to what we're discussing because, like,
It's a little cynical, but sorry, yeah, it's a little cynical, but I mean, there like for sure is like point to that.
yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to do, and I'm really glad that it's happening. I just think it shows the limits of what we can do as
As a community.
charitable organizations, private individuals, things like that. It's like you are going to allocate, things in a way that is somewhat, it's just like, what you're focused on, right?
Yeah, and I'm worried that this is going to create the argument look at this, private individuals can do a better job within the government. That means we should privatize this kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, personally, I think that the state should just pay for people to go to college. Like,
Yeah, I
fuck
agree.
it, why not?
I think that the way the colleges are now, I don't think the state should be paying for people to go to college. I think the state should make better colleges.
I would
and
say
then get
this.
pe-
I do
let people
think
go
that
there.
tuition of public universities should be free. However, I do think at the same time what they should do in order to promote the same level of rigor and the same amounts of and the same excellence that they would expect normally, they should make the college. They should make their admissions process more selective in doing.
I mean,
it. So
Alex, you really think that? Because we have some of the best colleges.
Okay,
in the
so
world.
I've worked in the for-profit college space before, and the way that these colleges take advantage of public funds is honestly obscene.
Yeah.
You think that
No.
only for-profit colleges
No.
have issues with the education that they're providing?
No,
I think
certainly
that it's there's a problem that's endemic to the entire system
No,
and
it's
the
certainly
way
not.
that the funding is allocated.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm
and
not
then
saying there aren't.
a lot of like the whole sense of what a university is supposed to be has changed radically in the past couple generations, and I think not for the better.
So yeah, I mean, I think that the obvious most doable thing is to provide the free tuition for state colleges and for community colleges, and that's definitely the thing that is the most logical next step. I think that when it comes to private colleges, it's like, I mean, you don't really need to subsidize that.
I always wanted to go to Trump University.
They're just institutions that are going to say they're need blind or whatever, but have these meritocratic hurdles that make you already need to be within a privileged position already to apply to them.
yeah, I understand. TJ Hooker saying in the chat that philanthropy is overwhelmingly a tax avoidance scheme, and that
True.
we should go over their endowments and profit hiding schemes.
True.
And, I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Harvard's endowment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Harvard is an investment bank with a college as a side business.
It blows my
Absolutely.
mind, and it blows my mind, like in sort of a more local context. It blows my mind that Northwestern is still not paying property taxes.
Yeah, and Northwestern is like one of the wealthiest institutions.
I mean, think of the footprint they have along Lake Michigan. It's
it's
huge.
huge.
It's got to be over.
And
a
they
mile.
they build new buildings every year.
And
It's
they have
crazy.
they take over mansions
Yeah.
in just outside downtown. And they're 80, 90 years old. Basically retrofit them as offices for their faculty.
Yeah, there's just a quick book to plug that I just wanted to pull up here, and it's really just about nonprofits and whatnot, and it's called Decolonizing Wealth by Edgar Villanueva, and it's a guy who worked in the nonprofit space for a very long time, and basically talking about how yeah, you can be doing this stuff with the funds that you have from the dividends in the portfolio for the fund of the general thing, but what are the things invested in? It's is that causing more harm than the actual thing that you're trying to do? The whole point is that you made the fund go up, oh, that's amazing, versus like, oh yeah, like we're actually impacting through the investment portion of this. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, big picture is pretty good.
Yeah.
What are some of the solutions that Villanueva offers in his book?
So it's been like maybe a year since I read/listened to it, but I'll try and remember honestly. But like the most basic step is sort of the kind of thing where you see sign of disallocation from funds that are doing active harm, like fossil fuels, tobacco companies, whatnot. And then the next step beyond that is that these funds are
What's the word? Divestment.
divestment. That's the word.
Divestment,
Disallocation was the only thing I could think of. Yeah, divestment. Yeah, which is like that's a good first step to ease the consciences of these people. But there's a solid argument that divestment is actually largely in the broader scheme of the market fairly like neutral, if
It's
anything.
kind of virtue signaling.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It
really,
doesn't do
I
much.
mean, the market is incredibly effective at reallocating resources where they.
Right.
I agree, and I say this as someone who has stock.
But the broader thing that basically the critique is the structure itself, right? Where it's more of because anything that you're putting these funds into is a profit-making endeavor, whereas you can put these funds into something that like maybe there's a return, maybe there's not, but like the whole point is that you're using these leftover like dividend funds basically every year to do your philanthropy. But what if you just actually used the funds for things that like might be risky investments but are like actually doing good in the moment, right? For the cause that you're looking for, right?
Fair, yeah.
So like you might lose money from your endowment, but like you have all of that capital that like you're just trimming off the edges of every year to give away to people. What if you just actually use that capital for things that are like, within your mission statement, but like, you can just do more good through that realm than like offsetting the issues of the market with your philanthropy on the back end.
Yeah, offsetting the harm that you don't have to do in the first place.
I think that's a noble thought, but I think it totally misunderstands the purpose of these organizations, which is.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't misunderstand.
Intentionally misunderstands.
Right? No, it's like these organizations like are badly set up. Is basically the idea of the book, right?
Well, I mean, they're well set up for what their purpose is.
Yeah.
It's just that their purpose is not
the purpose
doing
is
good
bad.
in the world.
Yeah.
The purpose is making money in tax write-offs.
Absolutely. I mean, I say this as I agree with that. And even though I do have stock in Halliburton and Raytheon and Lockheed.
It's a weird flex, but okay.
Did you buy Raytheon before yesterday?
I bought Raytheon like a year ago. So.
So it's doing pretty well, huh?
I bought. When I saw
If they're in the S&P 500, I probably have them.
When I saw.
I mean, no, it does. Owning the index does not count as owning.
Pulling up the chart for is this Halliburton or Raytheon? Okay.
I think Raytheon is in. Are they in NASDAQ or are they in?
Money.
Yeah. Whenever any war pops up, there was a lot of investment firms released a newsletter about how to invest in conflict after the last couple days. And
of course they did.
Yeah, Raytheon and Boeing are good things to own.
I want to say about
these
Raytheon
days.
like June-ish of last year, maybe.
Yeah,
Like that.
so you're probably up a good solid, like, I don't know,
A little bit.
20% or something.
Something like
at this
that,
point.
yeah. Something like that, yeah. And I did in December when I saw like things starting to heat up in Russia and Ukraine, I realized this could pop off, and I've made a lot of money off of my Ford stock over the last few years, so I should probably sell a little bit of that. And we can pull it up also. I bought in 2018, I think, ish. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we're looking at the, I'm sorry, but when we're looking at this graph of how things have grown, can we compare it to the index?
And Jamie
does not have the capability.
Jamie shakes his head.
Because I just think that is an important context to have.
Let's see.
Yeah, so I think Ford compared to the index has underperformed, or
It looks kind of about.
Probably pretty similar
It's
/ slightly
fairly
under.
similar, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to alternate it that fast. We get it. All right, cool. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so like I saw like
Making money on people's horror in their lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, incidentally, I saw things about to pop. Like I was seeing on some news websites, not mainstream ones, but people were following Ukraine like mid to late December, and I realized this might heat up. I need honestly some sort of investment to supplement the salary I get as a substitute teacher.
Also, what if China invades Taiwan?
I don't think that would have that much impact on the United States stock market, to be honest.
Semiconductors, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if we sanction them as a result,
We probably would.
we'd probably have some carve-outs, though.
Maybe it'd be.
There would be.
Like there are with Russia, right? Because the one thing that's not included in their sanctions is the number one part of Russia's economy, which is oil. Yeah. Not included in the sanctions, by the way.
Wild. I didn't know that. That's wild.
Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
All right. It is coming up on 11. Should we start wrapping things up?
Let's
I have to get back, lock Mr. Corgo.
let's just make sure we mention that Will spoiled Wordle.
I did indeed on Twitter. I encourage everyone to take a look at that thread. You can find it on twitter.com/radio_windy.
Yeah, if you're looking for the Wordle answers, just go on our Twitter.
Yes. Yeah, you can find it there, or you can find the context of that post there. If you click on the tweet that says reported, scroll up a bit, you'll find out what today's Wordle was. And yeah, there we go. We're looking at it on the studio monitor right now. Incidentally, thank you all very much for listening tonight. Thanks again to Orion from the Grillcast for coming on. I encourage all of you to take a listen to that podcast. Anything to declare? Anybody?
I don't think is bifid a word? I've never heard of that.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I mean, it must be if Wordle accepts it.
Like bifid too.
That's
what I
thought. Okay, so bifid. I think it's pronounced bifid. Of a part of it's pertains
we
to
get
a
a
part.
dictionary.com check.
That's what I'm having right now.
Hold on, can you check Merriam-Webster instead?
Give me a second.
I have several pounds of vegetable products from overseas to declare.
Okay.
Are they bifid?
Well, that's fine. Okay, so
I have $10,000 in horse sausages from Kazakhstan to declare.
man, I wanted to. Try,
I think that's illegal here.
Yeah, I've wanted. See, this thing like
fuck.
I wanted to try horse for a long time because I heard it was not like that.
It's good. It's like a leaner beef. I had it when
They
I was in Kazakhstan.
have that product where you can buy those chips that are flavored like foods that are illegal.
Interesting.
And so they have one that's horse flavored. Yeah, there's
Have
a
you ever
horse flavored
heard-
one. There's
Is there a
that.
link to that in chat, please?
There's like that cheese that's eaten by maggots in Italy. you know?
I know what that is.
They have one flavored like that.
No, speaking of chips, speaking of potato chips, there is this brand of chips called the whole shebang is what they're called, and apparently for the longest time you can only get them in prison because they were made by an institutional supplier, but now I started selling them in stores. They're actually really good. I will say.
Oh man, we're really missing.
Do they
out.
bring you
We
back?
Commit a bunch of crimes.
I said, do they bring you back to when you were in
They bring
the
me back. Well, anyway,
slammer?
Slammer doing hard time. Yeah, they taste like if you've ever had all dressed up chips, which are popular in Canada, like a mix of a bunch of different flavors. They're kind of similar.
I
to
thought
that.
those were ketchup flavored.
They are ketchup flavored and a bunch of like other like onion and a bunch of
More
other
than
flavors.
just ketchup.
It's like ketchup, sour cream, onion barbecue.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of ketchup. I don't like the ketchup.
Yeah,
I'm a
incidentally,
Chicagoan,
this
so
is
I don't
the
like
word.
ketchup.
You know, on Webster, this is the word.
Bifid.
And the definition is divided into two equal lobes or parts by a median cleft. For example, a bifid leaf.
My dog's like a loaf. He's a corgi.
Nice.
Is that like a commonly used term, or is that archaic or
It is. It's not archaic.
scientific?
It's scientific, basically. I had an idea. I figured, I think that is a word, which is why I tried it. And incidentally,
Sure.
I'm not going to say it. I could say the word what the word was today, but hopefully your imagination.
It's 11 p.m. It's fine.
You might as well just.
That's
spoil
true.
it
I mean,
right?
yeah, I don't want to say it specifically, but hopefully your imagination will be vivid enough to kind of imagine what it is. Anyway, with that being said, we conclude this edition of Windy City Radio.
Shout out to Alex who couldn't be here.
Shout outs to Alex.
And also shout out to Alex who couldn't be here.
Yep. Yeah, and with that being said, thank you very much for joining us tonight.